Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain J. And tonight, oh yes, with me as always, my partner in podcast, the numbest of skulls.
Hey guys,
Mr. Numbskull himself. We are here. The end of October. It's the middle of spooky season. It's almost Halloween. And we are here with the Magic News Roundup. All right, guys, this is what we're doing today. We couldn't decide on a topic. We were working for a while to try to figure out what to bring you. And then we said, well, let's see if anything interesting happens at MagicCon Vegas that we want to do late breaking. And oh, Lordy, did a lot of things happen. So we had news before even MagicCon happened. And then when MagicCon happened, they were like, here's some extra double bacon cheddar news to throw on. We have set announcements. We have fundamental rule changes, set changes, legalities. We have bans. We have all kind of stuff going on with Magic. Lots of shakeups. So we're going to be covering and getting our thoughts on all of these. You might not even have heard all of the stuff that came out because they kind of fire hosed us with stuff at MagicCon.
Some of the stuff I didn't find out until I just like doom scrolled on Twitter and Blue Sky.
Yeah, and
I didn't even have time to like process it all.
I didn't either. I was pretty busy today, and then I literally went to dinner with Snow, and my phone kept going off, and Snow was like, "What is it?" I said, "That's my Discord. They keep texting me." And then I looked when I got in the car after the restaurant, and they're like, "Hey, rule changes. They announced this. They announced that. There's all kind of stuff going on." Yeah, I'm like, good golly, Miss Molly. So I think that's a numbskull. Hey man, we got to hit the ground tonight. We got to get our thoughts on this. So
we're happy we waited, to say the least.
We are happy we're waiting because we were going to record last night. We were going to get into it, and we decided let's wait and see if anything and it happened. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We're going to be doing a bunch of different news topics and talking about a lot of different things, giving you our opinion and analysis on that. And if you think that's worth it, if you want to join the Black Council, and if you want to be involved in what we do here and get our feedback and see this video early and join our secret Discord server where you can talk directly with us about it, tell us all about it, how you feel and what's going on, well, we'd love you to join our Patreon. It's right down there, patreon.com/the Black Council. We would love you. We are completely Patreon supported, and everything we do is there, and that pays for our studio, everything else that we do, and probably a bunch of wild cards and other things for us. So we'd love you to join the Black Council today.
And you can do it for as little as $1 a month or $1 an episode, whatever you prefer. We have, we got a good group of people so far, and we're growing each month as we release more content. So
absolutely,
we're very thankful for everyone who's stuck around as long as they have. We have some OGs here. I'll go down the list.
Oh yeah, you'll get your names read out in the
we'll give you a shout out every week, or every episode rather. So we do have two new ones. We've got Mez Undead, VG, Zyron, Skywarn, Just the One, Larry Mitchell, Aaron Beemler, Jay Langford, Metal Mechanic, Notorious D, Deadfast, Argent Icon, W. Taylor, Elvan Breams, Zyla the Beast, Jamel Langford III, Trexodactyl, Lord Gypticus the Flipticus, Mamulian, Cassius, Nickel Nuts, Ulfir, Dante Valentine, Savrit, Clever Sound, and of course, Paradabo. Not just one, but a whole pair of them.
And the whole pair of Dabos right there. No. So thank you all Patreons for supporting us here, and you can join for as little as $1 a month or $1 an episode or more, whatever you want to do. You get a bunch of cool benefits, and we'd love to have you on the council. We're going to be doing more stuff. I also want to thank all the watchers out there, all the viewers out there. Little bit of news: our last episode, our Mono Black from Duskmorn, was the most watched Black Council episode ever.
That's awesome.
So that was the biggest, most watched episode we ever had. And the second biggest, most watched episode we ever had was the Duskmorn preview.
It's been good the last couple times.
Both pushed. I guess they're right up our alley with Black Council Mist. Both pushed 3,000 views, which was almost an all-time record for back-to-back of viewership. So we love that, guys. Thank you so much for supporting, for liking, for coming by in the chat, for everything y'all do and the support. It's been amazing.
And as it pertains to the growth of the channel, we have channel news as well.
Yes. Well, yeah. Let's get into that.
So some of you may have already seen on my channel that I'm working with them too, but they said that they also like the council and they want us to, they want us to do what we can over here with it. So we're now partnered with Heavy Play. And if you guys have never heard of Heavy Play, I did do a box opening of some stuff that they sent me on my channel on Twitch the last time I streamed. But the main thing they're known for, they have really cool deck boxes, really cool play mats, and dice boxes, and it's all magnetic. So it can all stick. Everything can just like stick to the playmat, and you can just carry your playmat around. You don't need a backpack anymore. It holds your deck on there. It holds your dice box, all that stuff. So they're a really cool brand. I know the marketing guy personally. Is a very nice guy. And yeah, so we got a hookup here. You're going to be able to use my code. And for this purpose, it's both my code and Jay's code. But the code is Numbskull for 10% off any purchase that you would like to make on their website. It helps the channel. It helps your council as well. Helps us pay our $1 million rent for the studio. Actually, they just raised our rent, Jay.
They just raised our rent. We're thinking about moving out.
They almost doubled it, dude.
Yeah, they doubled our rent out of nowhere. I looked at my credit card statement, and I was like, why did I get charged twice?
Why did you get charged $2 million this month?
Yeah, it's only supposed to be $1 million a month. That's
crazy.
That's what I signed.
So yeah, we definitely it would definitely help. helps keep the lights on rather. So yes, feel free to go check it out. It is my favorite deck box and dice box to use personally. I actually haven't got to try out the playmat yet, but I am going to try it here in the next few days. So I will get back to you.
I'm probably going to order some for myself, and I'll review them maybe on the on my second channel where I do
that sounds
magic.
Awesome. Yeah.
So maybe I'll order a box or two and go over the product. We'll do a product review on the second channel.
Hell yeah. Yeah, they do have sleeves too. They're known for having the sleeves that are curved on the edges on the bottom so that you always know when you're looking at your deck what's the top and what's the bottom, so your cards are never upside down.
Okay.
So they're known for innovations on like every product that they release. Which is one of the reasons that I'm like pretty excited to work with them, because it's not just like a regular like, oh yeah, it's Dragon Shield, which Dragon Shield's fine and everything, like they're solid, but it's something innovative and new. And it kind of gives us a chance to bring you something that maybe you haven't seen before, because not everybody's heard of Heavy Play. So yeah, if you use that code, we really appreciate it. And also, who knows, there may be a patron giveaway for it in the future.
Yeah, we're planning on doing some product giveaway here. We've talked about that. So it's going to be for patrons. So if you want to get on that, you're going to have to patronize. But we'll see what's going on. We'll come up with a little something.
Yeah, we're going to give it a shot.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we went through the patrons. We did our channel announcement. And I guess we have a lot to talk about today.
We got a lot of topics. We're going to try to hotbox this.
Yeah,
we're gonna cram it all in here.
We're sorry if we didn't go through everything.
We may miss something, but
hey, that's what the Discord's for. We can talk about anything that, and the YouTube comments, anything you think we missed. Feel free to shout it out, or if you have a opinion or want to hear our opinion on a certain thing.
Oh yeah,
call it out.
Come to the Discord, leave comments. We love comments. We will interact with them all the time in the chat. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
First things first, even before we get to the new stuff, I'll tease the new stuff. Let's talk about original old stuff.
Okay.
Because I think everyone wants to know, because everyone asked me, and I'm sure they want to know yours too, and I'd like to know yours because I didn't even talk about it with you.
Okay.
Biggest news, the LEYLINE Best of One ban.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right. LEYLINE Best of One got banned, as you may or may not know. to much fanfare. Necessary, unnecessary, uncalled for. Where do you fall on that one, Numbskull?
I like the distinguishing of banning it in best of one because Arena is such a best of one game. And it's also something that people use to learn how to play. And if you're a new player and you're not playing that, you're not having fun.
Yeah.
So I'm for it. I think that in a best of one environment, it created situations where people didn't enjoy logging into the game and playing Magic on Arena in best of one standard. I think that it also creates such a play draw dependent thing for a format that, you know, once you lose, that's it. Whereas like, okay, you know, in best of three, you lose the coin flip and they kill you on turn 2 with Leyline. Okay, whatever. You get the sideboard, you have another game. Best of one, that's it. And then what if you face it 3 more times after that? You're gonna rage quit. So I think it's good. I think it was necessary. It kind of definitely illustrates the differences between best of one and best of three, in my opinion. And you can make an argument they never should have printed it. I think in best of three, it's all right. Like to have in a deck and stuff, and obviously it's still really good. It's like it's a little like, you know, it's a little bit less bad, I should say. Maybe not just like all right. It's like a little less annoying in best of three because you're able to board in answers, or you may just have more answers in general. They did also give us enchantment removal in the same set that the very powerful enchantment was released, so that's a thing. But yes, it's I think that I'm sure there was a collective sigh of relief as people read that. And I don't know many people who play best of three who said that it needed to be banned there. So I think they actually got this right, because I think in best of three people would have been like, you didn't really need to ban it, but best of one, it was like, dude, this is just like messing up the game for a large portion of your player base, and that's not good for you or them.
Yeah. And I would say that I definitely agree. I would have to agree with that. The bans was necessary. I think, like you said, with everything, all things being equal, yeah, best of one, it was harder to get off. You had a situation where you could be on the play with no removal or off color. If you were running Orzhov and you didn't have a black mana or whatever, or you didn't have the right thing, if you had off color or no, you didn't draw no removal, and they hit their line, you were dead. Yeah, the game was over.
Exactly.
They would drop a ley line or 2 ley lines. They would go put mouse next turn. Dread. What's it called? Not jump scare, or turn inside out.
Yeah.
Hit, bang, and you were done. So you never got an action if they were on the play with the right line. And I know that was probably rare that happened. It probably didn't happen all the time, but I think it happened enough that people, like you said, if you're a new player or you're just on the edge of this, you're gonna go, man, fuck this game. I don't want to play this.
Yeah, you know, like, I'm not spending any more money on this shit.
I'm not going to go buy some packs.
Yeah.
This is dumb. And I know all the. Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
And all the people are saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be playing best of one, anyways. Best of three is the format." Shut up. No,
it's whatever. It's whatever.
Best of three is not the only format. Play what you want. I understand people like best of three. People like to play best of one. Best of three is a huge time sink. Okay, a lot of times if you end up playing against an Azorius grinder, you're going to be there for 30 minutes. Not everyone can play 30 minutes worth of Magic. They want to sit down on their phone and play one game while they're on the bus, and then move about their day.
I definitely play best of one on the phone. Best of three on the phone is miserable.
It's miserable. So,
sideboarding is it's not made for you to be able to sideboard on your phone. It's so bad.
So we've got to respect that.
Yeah.
I think it was smart doing a ban. And again, in best of 3, even though it's still powerful and can still blow you up quickly, it's hard to do that 2 times in a row. You're not
Exactly.
always going to get the right hand 2 times in a row. You also have
Exactly.
the option to say, okay, he's running this, so maybe I can sideboard for it. You have a little bit more flexibility, even though I still kind of think it's powerful. Frankly, I think the card was OP to begin with. I think that it's
really good.
I think that it was cracked out the gate, and that maybe it needed another go around, another pass or something, because I think that it may have been too strong on its face. It's a free card that gives you free cards.
When you already have like a format filled with really efficient value spells.
Yeah.
And then you say, hey, now you get 2 of them for 1 card, and it's just
it's a free spell that gives you free spells, man. That is we're getting into dangerous territory on that one.
And you go net positive on a lot of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because basically, if you get to cast 1 spell with Leyline out, it has effectively replaced itself in your hand. When you get to 2, well, now you're just up a card, and you just keep going up after the first one.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an issue. But yeah, I think a lot of decisions, probably motivated by money, and I bet you they may have seen. They probably, I mean, they can see how many people are playing best of 1.
Yeah.
They probably saw a dip in people playing it. They probably.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it was out in the zeitgeist. It was on Twitter. It was, it was out there that people were not happy with this.
Yeah.
And they said they were keeping an eye on it. And I think at that point, I think we all knew death was knocking.
And you remember it in early access, everybody was doing it, and it was really annoying.
And it was really annoying, and people were complaining. So,
and we kind of didn't have as much fun as we maybe wanted to in early access.
Oh, because towards the end,
everybody was doing it, dude.
Everyone was doing it.
I was like, I'm just getting off. This is stupid.
They wanted to get their clicks in. They wanted to say, oh, look at this turn 2 combo kills
They wanted to make their YouTube short or whatever they're going to do.
And listen, I don't blame them. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah,
but it disincentivizes me if I'm like, ooh, how can I do a dread combo? And it's like, well, I can't do a dread combo if I immediately
can't do anything.
I play one forest and then die.
Yeah,
that's not conducive to a good Brewers format right there.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
I think it was justified. Maybe you guys disagree. Talk amongst yourselves in the comments or in the chat. I think it was certainly justified going in.
I think even if it does get banned, that deck is still really good anyway. Clearly,
I mean,
deck at the World Championships, and only 4 of the lists of the 30-something lists are actually playing Leylines. So there's that.
It is good. It's kind of a gamble. People always go, well, it actually makes you weaker because it thins your hand out by accident sometimes.
Yeah,
it can. And I could see the argument for that, but that segues into kind of MagicCon and competitive Magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, our judgment call is we'll give it the 100%.
Good job, Wizards.
Black Council seal of approval. You get a B- for your handling because you should have probably never printed that card, but you did respond to it pretty quickly into what may or may not have been.
Response was good, and that's unusual.
Yeah. So we agree with that. If you don't agree with that, you're objectively wrong. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would love to hear from you if you disagree and you think that it should have stayed around or there was a different way to do it. But speaking of which, I think that people have settled on a Gruul as the Gruul aggro as the best version of that. Have you seen that? I saw that at MagicCon.
Yeah. It's Gruul aggro is the best. With or without Leyline, because of the protection spells and the opportunities for card advantage with questing druid. That's what they were really enjoying about it. And being able to have cards like Snakeskin Veil, things like that.
Protection cards,
and if you really want to, you can still cast the burn together from Callous Sword because it's just 1 red mana.
Yeah.
I think they also felt like it was easy to splash for it for the green, so that was helpful too. And if you had to look at questing druid as a creature in the deck versus Callous Sword as a creature in the deck if you played red-black.
Yeah.
Questing Druid's so much better. Callous Sellsword, best case scenario, it's like a 4/4. Questing Druid's like every time you cast a spell, get a counter.
Yeah,
it's really good, you know. I think that played into it as well, because like, you know, you just use the burn together, but the fact that the burn together is red and you can just still cast it, if you really want to do that, then who cares? Yeah, just do it. And I think what helps make it good is there's a few different lists that are good, like we're saying, with or without ley lines, with or without the cacophony scamp. So there's a couple ways to look at it.
There's been an argument
that
the problem, the culprit, is burned together, and Callous Sellsword should catch the ban.
See, what I don't like about that is like it's actually like kind of fun to play it in other decks too.
Yeah.
Like I have like a like Reanimator Fling with legendary creatures with like Rakdos Joins Up. That's a really fun combo deck to play that probably doesn't even have over a 50% win rate, and that card makes that deck like a thing. So I it would be unfortunate if that got banned. The reason I don't mind the Leyline being banned is because that's like the only deck where you're going to play that that enchantment, you know, and that is the only deck that's like way too strong.
Yeah, because you can, with the what's that guy's name, the Slick Shot, Callous Sellsword, and maybe 2 pumps, you can get that on turn 3. You can get an instant win
if you connect and then fling it. Yeah, you're right.
And
you're right.
That's fast, but turn 3 is turn 3. You know, I have a cut down by that.
Right. Right.
You know, because I maybe got to play even a second mana. It feels less unfair, but yeah. I can see where that can be frustrating. And again, I'm thinking from the point of a casual Magic player. I think people need to think about perspective. If you're like an epic grinder and you're like a pro player and you're like, oh, I hit mythic numbers every single time and I grind out and I blang out RCQs, and you're linking from power level. Okay, but yeah, think about the guy who's, you know, 45 and wants to play 1 game before bed. He's going to put down the game and he's going to pick up Hearthstone or something like that. Or he's going to, you know, you have to appeal to a wider audience. You can't let spikes dictate what is acceptable, because some people are playing for the pleasure of it. Some people are playing just to kill time. They're not trying to, you know, grind mythic. And if everyone is just blowing them up immediately, I think that there is a expectation of, man, I had a really cool green creature I wanted to play. I never even made it that far.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, there needs to be a consideration for the casual player. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm way off base, but I don't know.
I think you're right on that. And I think that best of one is designed for that player. And that's why I think it's so appropriate that it was banned in best of one. Because you have the new players who start with best of one, and then you have a more casual player who wants to just kind of play decks where they have fun and they just want to enjoy playing. Because don't forget, like, Arena is like kind of technically still a video game.
It is,
you know. So realistically, you want people to have fun playing your video game, or you want there to be an avenue where it's like, this is the fun portion, even if you are still playing ranked. This is like the fun zone, and then if you want to be sweaty, we have this other category of the format, aka best of 3, and, you know, high ranked play and things like that. Where best of one, it's like, yeah, you can grind best of one, but most people don't grind best of one super high numbers, because you just have to play for too long. It's almost impossible to keep the rank in best of one. And most of the higher ranked, like, you know, top 250 mythic generally play best of 3 in my experience. So just little things like that. It's just, and then like you were saying, the player base has to be able to enjoy it. And then it also eventually comes down to your bottom line. You can't be losing money over a card that was supposed to help progress the game and make you money. So I think it was justified. The only other ban that I recommend, I'm even over my Atraxa I know people say Atraxa but I've kind of accepted her. The only one that I'm still playing the drum for is Sunfall. Oh, Sunfall. Yeah, if they're like, hey, we're gonna ban Sunfall, but Atrax is legal for another year, I'd be like, okay.
I'd say okay.
I would take that. I would take that in a heartbeat.
Reanimator decks are annoying, but I've beaten them. I've beaten them enough. And again, my argument against Sunfall is that it's a fun killer. It's a pace and fun killer.
Yeah.
And I do think that is generally just a turnoff, but
And I
that's a
think
story.
Leyline was too.
That's a story for another day.
Sure.
Yeah. I can't talk about bans without getting. I gotta be. Listen,
I'm gonna throw that in there.
I'm on my hater grind 24/7. I'm Sunfall's biggest hater. So if I don't bring it up, people are gonna think I'm slacking on my.
If Sunfall has no haters, then I am dead.
Yeah, if Sunfall has no haters, it means I'm dead. So yeah.
So okay, well then we were talking about the green red, Leyline, no Leyline. Let's talk about like how the World Championship is going so far.
Yeah, pretty diverse field right now. Pretty diverse field right now. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I think it's pretty
as a competitive player yourself. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. It's just people. I mean, you know, it's people going in and say what's the best deck, and I'm gonna play that. But there are different ideas as to what is the best deck, you know. And there's a new one that came out. It's like I think it's like a Teamer Otters thing going on, where
heard about this.
Yeah, where you get to like tap you give all the creatures haste, and then they all tap for mana, and they like help you look at more cards, and you just like churn through your deck, and eventually you have enough to kill your opponent. So that seems pretty cool to me. I was pretty happy about that, seeing the innovation, you know. I don't know if any of the decks did incredibly well. I think a lot of the decks that are doing well are the prowess decks. There's a lot of Dimir. A lot of Dimir stuff. Different archetypes of Dimir too, with the demons.
Yeah.
But also like the mid-range. Dimir mid-range is kind of always a thing. And then we didn't really have any mono. We didn't really have any slasher combo, unfortunately. I think there's some Dimir decks that are playing it, but a lot of them don't play like Bloodletter. Like they don't do like the OTK. So that was interesting.
Do you think it's not reliable enough to lean on it?
Maybe, but also I think Dimir presented like too many good blue cards, and people were like, oh, I can like do most of the stuff here, but also have access to like counter spells and other blue stuff for card advantage. And I think that they just made the decision that was more, maybe like more reliable and more consistent. But I mean, I like the mono black deck, obviously, so I think it's great. But they do that, and then there's a Doomsday Excruciator and Jace combo now too.
I've heard, yeah, that's the instant mill.
Yeah, you have Jace out, and then you hard cast Doomsday, and you just -2 Jace, and then the opponent loses.
Very tough.
It's pretty cool, and that's what I think that's what Simon Nielsen is actually playing, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, I think the whole Team Handshake is actually playing that. The one, you know, those who are there. So, and I think that the deck is doing pretty well. I think they've made. I think they have multiple people in day 2. Simon Nielsen is, I think he only has like 1 or 2 losses, so he's definitely like live to make top 8 tomorrow. So that deck is, I mean, but it also just plays like Archfiend and the Unholy Annex, which just that's one of the top cards I think of the whole thing right now. That Oculus and Leyline are probably your top cards, because John Emmanuel Duprat, he's one of the only guys who's playing Leyline, and he's undefeated so far. So I think there are 2 guys who are actually, I think now it's just him who's undefeated. I think he's the only undefeated person left.
Wow.
So it's proving itself that, at least for the field, it is the best. So I think that's noteworthy. But the Oculus decks are sick. The Oculus decks are very resilient. They put big, huge creatures that fly at you and kill you.
They are frustrating, man.
For 1 mana.
They are not easy to get around when they
No.
pop. I've had some of them bungle, and if
Mhm.
you happen to be running Graveyard Hate, which I've kind of gotten the habit of,
Sure.
you can really bungle of them. But if they pop, they start slugging you and they don't stop.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it's part of the reason Ghost Vacuum has been so valuable too.
I know I've started sideboarding it or mainboarding it at least one kind of cease and desist, frankly, and I think we talked about that in our preview. You were going to want to hold on to cease and desist at any kind because of the level of enchantments, artifacts that you could either sweep out mid game or just being able to specifically target cards and say, no, you can't reanimate that.
Yeah.
You can't pull that back. It's been that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Ghost Vacuum's cool too because you can take their Oculus and then you can reanimate it.
You
as
can
well,
reanimate
their
yourself,
and do all kinds of stuff. So, so the Vacuum's really cool card. But the Oculus is so good. It might be the best new creature. I don't know. It might be. It's really good, and it's played in like every format right now. Modern. It just won a modern RCQ near me.
The fact that I think people underestimated Dread, and I noticed in early access, Dread is the ability to just crap out 2/2s.
Yeah.
You just every single turn you're just loading.
The fact that every turn is so crazy.
Yeah, you are just absolutely overwhelming your opponent with stuff. It's very hard for them to get around it. It's not easy to you run out of kill spells eventually, and then you still have the 5/5 there. And then a lot of times they just res it again. So it's
I saw someone manifest Dread. I think it was Shota Yosoka. He had the Oculus out and manifest Dread into another Oculus, and it was like he wins.
Yeah, it's not
one.
it's gonna get him there. I want to give myself a special shout out, by the way.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I think you know what I'm going to talk about.
What's
MVP card that snuck up on everybody.
Yeah.
Unholy Annex.
Yeah, you were right, man. I got to give you props too, because I wasn't a believer.
He wasn't a believer. He said, "All right, Jay, I'll give you a sure. Yeah, that sounds good."
I didn't think it was going to be bad. I just didn't think it was going to be as good.
It has, I think, been. Can we say it's been kind of unanimously said to be a sleeper?
It's definitely a sleeper, and it's up to like $5 now. They were selling for $1 last month or early in the month. They're up to $5 a piece now, and I bet you they go higher, especially depending how this tournament ends up, how the world champs end up. Ghost Vacuum goes up, Leyline goes up. Oculus is already actually I think like $30, but it may go up even more. But yeah, they all. I think there's a few cards that you're gonna see them maintain their values and may even go up some more. And another crazy card I see is Archfiend. Just being a 6/6 demon for 4, still like only $1. Just so crazy. He's just skating by.
He's just getting it.
Yeah, but yeah, you're totally right, Jay. You called that.
I said it's basically and I know people were like, oh, but it hurts you. If you're no pun intended, playing your cards right, it's basically an improvement, a market improvement over Phyrexian Arena. And Phyrexian Arena is a staple. And I'm like, this is arguably a better version of it. People are upside. It's got more upside, man. I don't really care about I'm not really worried about the damage. If you're playing, I mean, it's like saying, oh, well, Sunfall hurts you too. It's like, yeah, I know what the downside is. I'm gambling on this to get the extra card. It also goes off sooner. You get the card sooner. Sure. So like with Phyrexian Arena, you have to wait till next turn, and then you hit it. If you put down Annex, you get at the end of your turn, you get the draw. And you also can recover with a gain and drain. I was quite proud of myself for noticing. We have a track record. We have a good track record here of noticing
for sure
good cards on this on the podcast. So I was happy to see it doing well. I love to see demons being any kind of effective because they always kind of get tossed down in the heap. Demons are always expensive, and I think that's why people don't play them, but they are useful. They do have some use.
And there's enough good cards to build your deck around, like getting demons out and making it to the late game to where that can be good. There are situations where it's bad, like that card isn't the best against red green prowess, like on curve.
Of course, yeah.
But if it is turn 5 and you don't have a creature to play out, and you're worried about
get a sudden creature.
Make a 6/6 demon and dare them to kill it. So, learning when to use it, I think, is important, because you don't always just like play it on turn 3 and start losing 2 life every turn and drawing a card. Sometimes you wait and you do a demon first.
Exactly.
Sometimes you need to use your kill spell on turn 3 fairly often in this format right now. But yeah, I think Jay knocked it out of the park with that one, man. That was really good. I think, while we're gloating, I think we had a few cards that were good that we said would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple ones that see Slasher.
Bogavoth is in all the Reanimator decks right now.
Oh yeah, he's Mr. Reanimator, as we knew. I mean, he's not supposed to be. He's not supposed to be cast. He's not supposed to be hard cast. No. He's supposed to be flawed.
It's a serious. Like we had some pretty good ones. I can't remember off the top of my head everything that we picked, but I think we hit on at least 3 of them, and we usually get at least 1 to 2 good black cards. We hit 3 this time, so I think that was pretty good.
Absolutely, I think we had a pretty good read on Duskmourn, and I've seen Annex being used in the RCQ. I think a couple of people are mainboarding it, so I was proud of that. It's a big part of the combo piece for sure. Yeah, it's important. So the other news out of Vegas, aside from just seeing how the meta is shaping up right now, we got a bunch of crazy rule changes.
Yeah,
we're changing some fundamental rules and set changes about how Magic works. One is a gameplay rule and one is a set rule. I want to talk about both changes there, because this kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody kind of knew that this was going to happen.
I mean, there was questions in regards to new sets that were coming out, what the legality would be. Yeah. But nobody expected it to be what they announced today.
Yeah, so let's go over blocking rule changes first. You may have not even heard about this if you're just a casual player or you weren't paying attention to what was going on. You may have not even really heard anything. So blocking is now different going forward from Foundations.
Yes.
Blocking does a different thing to you. They're changing how it works, period.
So I guess to fully understand this, we have to understand, and combat is generally complex in any TCG.
Yes.
But we have to go through each portion of combat and understand where this change gets moved to in that order, because that's in my understanding of it makes it such a big change. So what this is going to be is you declare attacks. Obviously, we'll go through it step by step. You declare attacks. The opponent declares blocks, anywhere from 0 to whatever number. And then there is a period where after they declare blocks as the attacker, you are assigned priority. If you I guess both players technically get priority. And then if nobody has a response, we go to damage. But also, after they declare blockers, you get to choose, and before that priority step goes through, I should say, the player who is having their creatures blocked gets to choose how damage is assigned. In the example given, my 5/5 attacker gets blocked by your 3/3 and your 4/4. It's now the declare blockers step after blockers are declared. Our last opportunity to do anything before combat damage is dealt. I pass priority. You have that giant growth in hand. You can still save the creature of your choice. We'll say you want to save the 3/3. probably for the same reason I wanted it gone. So you pump it up to a 6/6. We move on to combat damage. And now I get to assign my creatures 5 damage any way I want. Most likely, I'll take out your 4/4 as it's the best I can do. But maybe I have plans of rather deal 3 damage to the 6/6 and 2 damage to the 4/4. That's okay too. So basically what they're saying is previously what you had to do is you had to assign the blocking the when a creature was double blocked, you had to assign the damage and the order after blockers were declared, and then both players could respond to it. Now, after responses, after pump spells, all that stuff, the attacking player just gets to choose what happens, basically. Which is, I don't know. Jay and I were talking, and we think it was designed to make it a more enjoyable experience for new players, so they don't get like blown out by a pump spell after blockers and say, "Oh wow,
that seems to be the case." So basically,
stupid,
at the long story short, they made a change to essentially take the blocking away from the defender to the attacker.
Yeah.
So essentially, you can't pull trick plays anymore. There's no more like, oh, you set up your blockers. Well, now this guy's getting pumped, or they're all getting death touch and trample, and you can't kind of trick people with the. It's going to happen no matter how it happens. It's going to play out however it plays out. So you have to kind of do it a certain way now. Pretty big change to how attacking and blocking works.
I think it's big in draft too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Draft is all about combat tricks and pump spells. Because now it's like the defending player has no way to keep the attacking player honest. You can just swing out.
Yeah.
And they you almost can't double block in draft anymore because they just get to choose whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if you have a combat trick. So it's
mm-hmm.
What I don't like about it is I think that it takes a little bit more skill out of the equation, and I am never in favor of that.
I'm gonna break a little bit why on this. I don't really understand the necessity of it. Again, I'm gonna think conservatively here, that possibly maybe there's something I'm not seeing. Maybe it really will work better. I'll hold my judgment. I haven't played it this way yet with the new rule changes. It doesn't sound like it's going to be super beneficial to the way I play, or that I think is conducive to good play. I also think that it is going to unfairly punish certain colors. I think you're punishing green and red hard. Blue doesn't
have a lot of
stomp through with big tramply creatures. Green did not need this.
No. Big trample creatures, dude. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Green did not need this. Black didn't with its death touch because, there's a lot of trick plays there. I am concerned that this is going to make things weird. I don't really understand their justification that it was complex, because frankly, this seems more complex now. They're saying, oh, new players were turned off by it. I don't know what focus group that came out of, but I generally don't know why combat. Somebody left something funny on, I think, the subreddit when I was looking at the news. They were like, combat is stupid anyways, and you shouldn't be doing it.
You shouldn't be doing combat.
Yeah, and I think they were saying it ironically because the game has shifted so much to trick resurrection and spells and doing all kind of crazy nonsense, but that is kind of how they feel like we're, that remember that game where it was a platformer, but they said it had de-emphasized jumping.
Yeah.
I think that was Knack, and they said, yeah, we're de-emphasizing jumping in our platformer. And I'm like, isn't that what a platformer is supposed to be about, jumping and doing platform puzzles? Why are you de-emphasizing? It's like if Call of Duty said, we're going to tone down how the shooting works. It's like, well, that's kind of their gameplay.
The whole point is shooting stuff.
Yeah, so a little bit odd. I am a bit more than anything. My number one feeling is confused. I am confused by this. I don't know who was asking for it. I don't know why it needed to happen. Foundations, I know, is a big push to get people involved in Magic. I think that they've had a top down, which kind of leads us into our some more topics as we maybe want to go on. They've had a big push to involve more people in Magic. Foundations is a big push to, if you haven't played Magic in a while, come on by and play it. We're still here. You remember all these old cards and all these old characters. If you're new, this is a great place to start. So Foundations is like a big effort to like front load the game again in a lot of people's minds. And alongside that, we have Secret Lair, which at the end of the day, you can say what you want about Secret Lair. Its goal is to involve people in the game. It's to get people who weren't playing into the game because they say, oh, Fallout, I like Fallout, or I like whatever. I like, you know, Marvel or whatever. I'll maybe I can get a theme deck around that because I like XYZ thing. I'll enjoy this. You know, there's a noticeable brand to get involved with. In an ideal world, Magic would have its own distinct brand that people want to engage with, but they kind of dropped the ball on that. So now they got to borrow somebody else's. So yeah, I don't know who was asking for this. I'm a bit confused. I'm going to have to reserve to see how it goes. My guess is that I'm not going to like it very much. I don't know why we're doing a major combat rule alteration 30 years later. I just don't. I'm not sure why we're doing this.
Yeah. I don't. I guess we're going to have to see if, you know, play it out and see if we think the game's better. I think that's going to be important. We'll have to try it out. I mean, we're going to be forced to try it, but we're going to have to, you know, mess with it a little bit and say like, all right, well, is this actually good? You know, is this actually what we want? So yeah, definitely relevant here. And yeah, we'd love to know what you guys think too. This is a pretty big deal, or if like you don't quite understand it, or if you're like a little confused, let us know. We'll explain it as best we can.
Yeah, because
but yeah,
in an effort to simplify things, I feel like you're going to be leaving a lot of people going, huh? Scratching their heads here. So yeah, if you want to help explain, if you want to know more about this combat change coming up, yeah, we'll definitely want to discuss it.
So yeah, we have that, and then we have
conclusion. Our conclusion. Let me say this, but put a bow in it. Our conclusion is we are deeply skeptical and concerned. I wouldn't say we're going to outright say that. Yeah, and confused. We're skeptical and confused. I wouldn't say that we're applauding this big change coming up. We are going to reserve. I think maybe say we'll have to play it, but this is confusing and leaving us skeptical. So yeah.
It's like the Johnny Depp short video. He's like, I'm confused, I don't know what's happening, and I want to go home.
Exactly. Yeah, this is an odd one. I wasn't expecting. That's what we were talking about when we said late breaking news was just flying out of MagicCon.
Yeah, this was out of nowhere, and it kind of flew under the radar a little bit in light of everything that was going on today.
Yeah,
so that's relevant too.
Other relevant, if we're talking about rule changes, this is also a rule, technically a rule change, because it's a legality change.
Yeah.
As far as I understand it, my reading of it is Universes Beyond is now going to be standard.
Yeah, they'll be all format legal now going forward. Well, starting in 2025.
Okay.
So I don't think it means that like Fallout becomes standard legal. I think it means everything that is Universes Beyond set that comes out in 2025, aka the Marvel stuff, will be standard legal sets.
Okay. Pretty big, because that essentially means that even if they do small printings or Commander Universes Beyond Commander sets, they're going to be standard legal. You could take any of those cards out of those, even if it doesn't come out in a main set, and just shove them in any standard.
Yep.
We used to be able to kind of ignore, like, for example, I basically ignored Assassin's Creed.
Or Assassin's Creed too, yeah.
I just didn't, it meant nothing, because I was like, oh, well, you know,
I had to pay a little bit of attention because some of the cards were like modern legal.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, no, it wasn't anything I had to pay attention to.
So that was a little surprising, and I think obviously, you know, I don't want to drag Wizards too much here. Listen, it's monetary. That's the reason. They want more people to buy the Universes Beyond. If it can reach a bigger market, and if they can balance it for a bigger market, that's what they're going to do.
I think they had to pay, or either they had to pay more into it because it's Marvel, or there's a higher expectation of success because it's Marvel, or both.
Yeah.
And they need to get a proper return on investment based on this. But what I don't love is it kind of feels like you're deviating from what made Magic great. And what made Magic great is that it's its own story. And that story is engaging. It has been engaging always, pretty much. You have your own characters that have their own stories, and it's incredibly unique. Yeah. And unlike anything that's ever come out, and that's why people are drawn to it. It was cool to have Baldur's Gate and Lord of the Rings sets in here for fun. It was, and it, you know, it seemed like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do that like once a year. We'll have like a cool. I think that is fine. And then you have it be like modern legal or whatever set you know, whatever, you know, you play it by ear on the legality for each one that's released. And I mean, you have to look at it like with Lord of the Rings, a lot of the cards were like modern power level. They weren't like standard power level. Like imagine having the One Ring in standard.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to imagine that. I played Alchemy.
Well, in Alchemy, yeah. But Alchemy also had other kind of high power cards too. I mean, not quite balance it out, but like
no. But I get what you're saying. It would have taken over. It would have
Bowmaster, One Ring. You know, some of these other guys in standard, unreal. So just think about that. Some of those Baldur's Gate cards that were really crazy. Those were just absolutely ridiculous, and we didn't know what to do.
So yeah, I am. I don't know. I don't have too much of a problem with this one. I'm pretty neutral on this change, if I'd have to say. I'm not like mad about it. I think that there is that concern that Magic is going to lose its identity, like you said. There is an argument about the Fortnitification of Magic that people always talk about.
Yeah, that's a thing.
My thing is, this is a trend of everything. This is not exclusive to Magic. Sure. If you've played Call of Duty, I played Call of Duty 3 just the other day because I was waiting for Black Ops to come out and I wanted to get my chops back. And my team was, you know, Ghostface Killer, Nicki Minaj, Homelander from The Boys,
sure,
Ghost from Call of Duty, and me, who was generic operative number 3. You know, it's it is something that is affecting all video games. And I don't think that anyone is going to go by unscathed. I think that it's less of the Fortnitification. It's unironically the Avengersification, where everything needs to be a crossover. You need to have other recognizable IPs involved. Listen, and it got a lot of flack with the Disney ones coming, not Disney, well, Disney technically, but the Marvel ones coming up. It got a lot of flack of, you know, this is stupid. A lot of people online were really mad about it and hated it, and we're all upset. Is this what's going to get your 9-year-old nephew to play Magic, though? Is saying that you can play Spider-Man going to get him in the door? Yeah.
Or is it going to make their parents more likely to buy it for them?
Yeah. You know, you can say, oh, look, it's Liliana Vess. It's Jace Bellerin. You know, he's a cool guy. And it's like, okay. You know, what arguments? And I understand. And again, I realize that this is kind of on Wizards for dropping the ball of not getting their properties right. You know, they kind of never got them out there. They could have published more books. They could have done a TV show, which they seemed to try to do, but never could actually do it.
Yeah.
You know, ideally that would be the ideal circumstance, is that these things were brought about organically. You know, is that people love the Magic property for what it is. We're not right there. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll be there. And my concern is, what I always say on my channel is, I love this game and I don't want to see it wither. I don't want to see it fade out. You know, you have to trend chase a little bit to be relevant. You know, this is the original trading card game. It can only coast so by on that for so long before it needs to start embracing new ideas. You know, because otherwise something like Lorcana is going to come out, or who knows what else, or Flesh and Blood, or whatever else you're going to have, and they're going to eat your lunch, you know?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other things to do in the world. There's video games. There's
going outside.
There's D&D. There's just going outside and hanging out. You know, there is a lot to do in the world. How do we get eyeballs on our product? Yeah.
Well, and a lot of things in the world about longevity marketing is about bringing, you know, you obviously want to have a certain level dedicated to the retention of your loyal and current customers, but also everything is about growth. More players playing your games, more new markets buying your product. The NFL just brought in Taylor Swift. Guess what demographic watches football now? Yeah. It's similar, and
they were ecstatic about that, because young women were like, "Oh, I want to see Taylor Swift's boyfriend."
And they're buying his jersey. He's like a top 5 jersey seller now. The team is, you know, larger than life. All eyes are on them. Football is more, and the NFL has always done little things like that. They've even paid the government to help them. So I think that you're right, that kind of is the wave right now, and let's just hope that they do it right. I think that's going to be a big thing.
Here's my confidence. The only one that has seen crass and unnecessary was Walking Dead. That's the only one that I'll say was like, this was not.
Did they say they wanted to do that?
Well, they already did it. They did the Walking Dead Secret Lair with those couple of
secret. Well, so I think Secret Lairs are fine.
Yeah, Secret Lair is fine. I think it was the first Universes Beyond, though, not Secret Lair. It was the first UB.
Okay.
I genuinely liked the Warhammer one. I think that's perfectly relevant.
Yeah, I think people enjoyed that.
You know, I've yet see them bungle a property.
Yeah.
And I don't think the people that they're working with are in the business of completely fucking off their properties either.
I agree. I think Transformers didn't hit the way that people thought it would.
Was that a Secret Lair, or was it a Universes Beyond?
I think it was Universes Beyond, but it was like Commander only legality.
Okay.
Yeah. I think like Commander and Legacy or something like that, maybe, where you could play it. It's very interesting how all that plays out. I know we say this a lot about Wizards' decisions. Kind of all depends how they follow it up.
Yeah.
What cards will be in these Universes Beyond sets? Are there going to be one ring power level cards in Standard? Is that going to be a thing? Is that going to be a problem based on the other cards that are in the format?
Yeah.
Do they limit themselves on the power level of these Universes Beyond cards because it's legal in Standard and Pioneer? Whereas before it was just like Modern. A lot of it was Modern and Commander and the other, older Eternal formats.
Yeah.
And in turn, it was okay to just have a crazy power level because those formats already had cards that had crazy power levels.
Yeah. And I think that if they're designing them with this in mind, they might tone them down.
Yeah. Which leads me to, why would you limit yourself when you could like have a freaking Thanos?
Yeah.
That could be stronger than the One Ring.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that it almost doesn't line up properly for me, but I understand why they did it. And
This is going to
also-
have to be a wait and see. I'm not totally against it. I think that if it brings people into the game, it's going to be fine. I know that people.
There was a redeeming quality for me. The announcement of the SpongeBob secret lair.
I heard about this. Yeah,
I need that.
excited about that.
I do need that.
I'm stoked. I'm so excited for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, a lot of people were really hype about that too.
That looks and Square Enix generally recently has had a very high standard for quality lately. They are not going to fuck around. I just don't. I don't feel like they're going to fuck around and release something that is just garbage.
Some of the art looked absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you could say it's a cash grab, but I mean, this whole game is a cash grab. You have to buy it.
Yeah, like most games.
Do you want it to hear it's like most games, this is their business, they're here to make money. Just saying, well, it's a cash grab, they're trying to make as much money as possible. Yeah, they are. Like, that's baked into the cake. So join us for our next episode where we talk about divergent and intersectional economic systems and how to adopt them so we don't run into this type of thing. Top-down economies versus bottom-up economies, capitalist incentive.
Yes.
We're going to be doing a full podcast on that, exploring why Wizards makes the decisions they make regarding getting the money that they want.
I could do an episode of why capitalism is bad.
Yeah. What is so? There is a great quote that people often use at this time. I know it's by a very controversial figure. You may know him. His name is Karl Marx.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, brother.
So he is known for saying money degrades all the gods of man and converts them into commodities. A lot of people say this when they start seeing, unironically say this when they start seeing secret layers of popular characters. When you see something that it's like, we're making a Spider-Man magic card, and it's like, well, money degrades all the gods of man and turn them into properties. It's going to turn it into a commodity. That's where we live. That's the nature of the beast.
It is.
I think that there is a way to do it that is not crass, and I think that they've towed that line. I'll give Wizards fair due. They've put out some crass products. For example, I'm looking at you 30th anniversary. But for the most part, it is a hobby. You have to invest in your hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not too angry about it. Let people have fun in this crazy world. Ideally, of course, this would be all very cheap, and they wouldn't be they would be motivated by nothing but pure artistic intent.
Sure.
We don't live in a perfect world, so it's just kind of the way it is.
And I think there also part of it is accepting that, like, not everything that happens to the game can be tailored to what you want to see.
This is also true. I saw a lot of people saying that, and I unironically I was kind of tilted about it because people were shitting on the Disney. This is stupid. I don't want this. I'll never play it. I don't care about Disney. Why would they make this product I don't care about? And it's like, I sit through, a Commander Masters and a Modern Horizons, and I don't give two shits about either of them. It's not for me. I don't need to, I don't know. The fact that people were like, why isn't this something that I want? I was like, come on, Commander, really? Commander people, you're telling me that?
Yeah.
I hate to say Commander people are coddled. I don't want to fire any shots at them. I like Commander. I play Commander. I have Commander decks, but like, there's always that kind of mentality where the people who don't want it are like, why isn't this for me?
Yeah, I think that's a big argument. Now, granted, I think people viewed Standard as like a safe haven where you just like didn't have to worry or care about any of it, and now you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I do get the anger there. I do get that, because that I was kind of in the same boat before I played Modern. I never paid attention to what came out in Modern Horizons. And now I do pay attention, but before I didn't care, and I don't care about most of the commander only sets. I don't care about that stuff. So you're right. So now we have to be mindful of what we're getting into standard. We might have to buy cards more often, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I am kind of excited to draft some of these Universe Beyond sets on Arena, though. That sounds fun.
Product fatigue is probably my biggest issue.
Yeah, because we're gonna have more releases than normal this coming year. It sounds like. Yeah.
Product fatigue is going to be a big problem. I think that is my big, that's my big issue, is that I'm worried because it's already kind of hitting. And if we're getting like, you have to pay attention to every single release. I want them, it's every single release you have to kind of pay attention.
Yeah.
And you just have to do it over and over and over and over again, and et cetera, and so forth.
Times a year now instead of like 3 or 4.
Exactly.
That's a lot. And now that perpetual spoiler season is just all the time.
It's every 6 weeks,
I mean, maybe it's good for us as podcast people. Hopefully you guys don't get sick of us faster.
So we'll have to wait and see for that. But
yeah, let's there is one more thing that
our closing topic.
Yeah, and sounds like maybe the last half hour or more we've just complained or talked about things that people are complaining about. We got some good out of today.
We got some good out of it, and we don't want
hope for what's coming.
We don't want to go too deep into it because we're going to do our best of. Yeah. So we don't want to spoil too much, but we're going to touch on it, and we will end at a positive note. Foundations previews.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Some of these full art lands are sick.
They look good. I'm a lot more excited about Foundation, seeing the cards. I was a little confused as to what we were going to get out of it. So it was not really super clear what was coming. Now it's a lot better. There are a lot of new cards. At first I was like, is this all just reprints? I don't understand, The art looks great. There's Japanese art. There's all kind of fun stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I think that most importantly, what everyone's going to expect us to put on, infinite loop. There is infinite life drain loop now.
Yeah.
You have the vampire. What's his name? The vampire guy. His name is Bloodlord Excelsior. I can't fucking remember his name.
Bloodthirsty Conqueror. Vampire Knight.
Bloodthirsty Conqueror. So whenever your opponent loses life, you gain life. And currently with enduring tenacity, whenever you gain life, they lose life. If you get a catalyst on that, it is an infinite loot life drain. It's the classic Veto, Sanguine Bond, Veto,
Exquisite Blood,
not Sanguine Bond, Exquisite Blood, and Veto combo.
The OG was Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood.
Oh yeah,
that was before Veto. Yeah,
that was before Veto. Well, yeah. I wasn't.
And they're both 5-mana enchantments, and it was hard to do. And
this
now
one
it's more efficient. Now you could like curve into it.
This one curves. This one goes 4 to 5.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Gain 1 life, make them lose 1 life. That's it.
It's game over. It's an unbroken loop.
So I'm happy. I'm happy about it. I like that it's a creature that also just has good stats.
Yeah, no, it's just a good creature on top of everything else. Yeah,
because it used to just be a 5-mana enchantment that was all the text. Crazy power creep, huh?
Yeah.
And you want to talk about Exquisite Blood being like a $15-$20 card. How much is Bloodthirsty Conqueror going to be? It's a 5/5. It's Exquisite Blood on a stick that's also a 5/5 Flying Death Touch for the same mana. That card's got to be $30.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. For sure.
So yeah, we're happy about that. There's another Tiny Bones coming.
There's a Tiny Bones coming. There's zombies coming.
Yeah,
there's zombies and skeletons.
The Liliana reprint, which is also obviously a zombie planeswalker.
I am excited for a lot of what's going on with tribal, because it seems like you're focusing on a lot of tribal, or I guess stuff. A lot of typal, I guess is what they call it now. It's harder.
Sure. I see a giant in here. That's interesting.
Yeah, so there was
Remember Giants and Kaldheim? That was a crazy
Giants and
time.
Kaldheim were fun. Is It Giants used to be way different than what you would think. It was like Stompy Is It. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude, it was not what you expected Is It to be ever, really.
Yeah.
There's a dragon that's like a deal double damage thing. That's always fun. That's basically like, if you think about it, if that card, Twin Flame Tyrant, it's a 5-mana 3/5 flying dragon. It's almost like the dragon version of Bloodletter of Aklazats.
Yeah.
Which is kind of dope, actually. So I'm happy with that. I'm glad that's back in standard. Anything else that we thought stood out? There's a Crystal Barricade. Crazy card. I think it's like a mono white control sideboard card. Not a huge fan, but
yeah,
it's coming.
My only concerns is the Reanimator into Omniscience and stuff like that. It's
gonna be gross. It's gonna be gross.
That's my biggest issue, especially with blue white Reanimator already being good.
Totally agree. You see the Phyrexian Arena is gonna be a staple.
Yeah, we already have that. I mean, but it's gonna be there for a while.
We do, but yeah, it'll be, what else is crazy? There's if you have 10 life, you lose, basically. There's a spell for that now. Did you see the Sarah Angel?
Sarah Angel. There's a couple more angels coming back out.
Yeah,
so,
Johnny's Pride Mate. Some cool callbacks. And we have Progenitus.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Progenitals.
Crazy Progenitals. Personally, I'm anti-genitals, so.
Anti-genitals?
Yeah, instead of progenitals.
I see. Okay.
I think that there's a
cool stuff. Oh, and the jumpstart cards are somewhat intriguing also. I'll just kind of leave it at that because I don't think they're standard legal, but they might be fun.
Yes. So Foundations is definitely coming. Next one, make sure that you're subscribed and you have the bell on, because next video is going to be our standard top 10.
We're dropping.
We are good at top 10. We are damn good.
We were bragging about it earlier.
Yeah.
We're not bad, man, especially with the black cards.
Yeah.
We're usually cooking on at least 1 to 2 cards with the black cards. At least usually 1 to 2, and at least 1 to 2 of them end up being a major card in on the Pro Tour or World Champs, whatever. We got pretty good foresight on that for the good black spots.
Yeah.
So definitely keep an eye out for the top 10, and we'll be giving our
we'll be back. Yeah.
It'll be early November. So maybe 2 weeks, a little less than
probably 2 weeks. We'll have everything pretty much spoiled by the end of in probably about 14 days.
And sadly no early access.
No early access. That's the other news that we didn't really talk about. There's no early access. I think there was a reason. They said they couldn't tell us the reason yet. There's a new community manager too.
Yes.
I guess they realized they needed one.
And they had more layoffs.
Go figure. Great.
Saw that. Yeah. So that's a thing. So the community manager's back. I think the layoffs, I think some of the people who may have been working on the last early access are not there anymore. That's entirely possible, which is unfortunate because it's been pretty chill the last couple times once they got everything sorted finally, but whatever. We hope to see it back soon. We enjoy it, and we enjoy being able to bring you that content, and I'm sure you guys enjoy it too. But yeah, so we are going to be back in about 2 weeks, and we're only going to have more cool stuff to show you. And then, keep an eye out. Go check out the heavy play. Check out the website there, see if there's anything you want. You do get a discount, and anything you buy there helps the channel when you use our code. And further, let us know what you're thinking about all of this, this news bomb that we've dropped on you today.
Big stuff. We want to hear you in the comments. We want to hear you in the chat.
Yeah,
let us know. Give us your feedback. Join the Discord. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's counsel about it. We're the Black Council. Let's counsel it up.
Let's counsel it up. Yeah, and there's going to be more to talk about. So
there's going to be more to talk about.
There's going to be even more next week. So, tell us maybe if you have any early picks for top 10s or what you might want to see.
What are you excited about?
We'd very much like to hear from you.
All right. Well, I think we can call this episode, this meeting of the Black Council, to a close.
Yes.
I've been Jay Villainy, and you've been great. Thank you all for coming. and we'll see you in the next one very soon.
Take
Good
care,
night,
guys.
everyone, and goodbye.